Good evening. My name is Joseph Khalil, and I am going to do this demonstration on behalf of myself and Tesfaye Belete for the class of 6119 Object-Oriented Development for the term project. The project proposal we submitted explained how Vertex Solutions Group is having an issue with issuing receipts for their employees on site, and that process is causing a lot of delays and a lot of paper trail. So in order to tackle that issue, we worked on creating a small software or simple software that will help issue those receipts in a manner that does not require access to internet and at the same time does not create any paper trail. So in order to solve that problem, we created a simple GUI that requests the that requires the employee or the issuer to enter an issue date, employee name, item type, and quantity, and in a repetitive manner. So each item has to be issued, has to be typed, and its quantity, and a simple add item button that will eventually add those items to the database. In order to make that happen, we utilized the MVC, Model View Controller, which allowed us in the View class to create the GUI frame, which with all the text fields and the buttons, and it was connected to a controller, which at the same time connected it to a model which was the brain behind this design pattern. And in order to make this happen, we had to create a client class which contained the client's information, and by client we refer to it as in the employee. And also we created data access object, which is pretty much a class that will handle how this information that we input into the client class going to be distributed when we use the queries for SQL, and the way it's going to be distributed. For example, whenever we enter the employee's name, item, the item type, the quantity, and the issue date, there's going to be a query that will add those information, insert those information to the table, to the SQL table. And at the same time, we created another class called the DAO factory, which is Data Access Object Factory, and it utilizes the factory pattern in order for us to be able to create instances of the client data access object mentioned here. As well, we had to create a database or the connection to a database so we can store these items or that input to the table, to the SQL table. So in order to do that, we had to create a class, database class, and we utilized the singleton. We used the singleton pattern to make sure we can only instantiate that database, that class one time only. So as you can see here, that database we're only able to instantiate it one time to create the connection and get the instances of that connection. With that said, once that information is entered inside into that GUI, it will be stored every time we press on the add button item in that database. That's it. Thank you.